Wednesday's activity is going to be kind of like that kind of goes over like how to figure out which method you're supposed to use to practice that skill. But basically the first thing that you want to do is you want to ask yourself how many terms you have. So how many terms do you have on number one? Three. So then the next thing, if you have three terms, what separates the two types is, well, first, is there GCF on number one? No. So first do that. And then once you check for GCF, then what you're going to ask yourself is there a number in front of the x squared or not? So on number one, is there a number in front of the x squared? No. So then that tells you that the method you're doing is what multiplies to negative 12 and adds to 4. So what multiplies negative 12 and adds to 4?
Negative 2 and 6.
Negative 2 and 6, yep. So x minus 2, x plus 6. Does that make sense? Okay, so then on number 2, how many terms do you have?
3.
3. And then is there GCF? No. So then you're going to ask yourself again, is there a number in front of the x squared? Yes, so then that tells you that you have to do bottoms up because you have to borrow that number for that process. So do 6 times the negative 5. So x squared minus 13x minus 30. And then find the two numbers. Yep, 2 and negative 15. So x plus 2, x minus 15. Do you remember what we do next?
You take the 6 and you divide.
Yep, you divide by 6. And then you'll reduce slash divide. So 2 over 6. Yeah, 1 over 3. So 1 over 3. What about 15 over 6?
5 over 2.
Yep, 5 over 2. And then you do the bottoms up. So the first one, the 3 is going to go up. So it'll be 3x plus 1. And then the 2 will go up, 2x minus 5. So those are the two methods for anything that has 3 terms. And what sets them apart is whether or not after the GCF there's a number in front of the x squared. Make sense? Yes? Okay. Number 3, how many terms do you have? 2 terms. Is there GCF? Yes. What is it? 2. Yep. So we're going to take out the 2. And then we have x squared minus 4. And there's only one thing that you can do for anything with 2 terms, what we did Friday. So remember, ask yourself, is it subtraction? Yes. And then are both of these something times itself? Yes. So keep your GCF of 2, and then remember you do the plus and the minus pattern. So you'll do x plus 2, x minus 2. Okay, on number 4, is there a GCF? No. Nope. Okay, how many terms do you have? 2. So then is it subtraction? Yes. Do you have both things that are something times itself? Yes. So what's 4a? What times what? 2a and 2a. What about 25? 5 and 5. So it's going to be 2a plus 5, 2a minus 5. Good? Yeah? Okay, so there's only one more factoring method that we're going to add to that, which is what we're doing today. Okay, so it's called factor by grouping. It's how we factor something with 4 terms. So your objective is students will be able to factor cubic polynomials. What does cubic mean? What's 3? The exponent, the highest exponent is 3. Yep. Cubic polynomials of 4 terms by grouping. And it makes sense that the highest exponent would be 3 on these because the ones that we have that are 3 terms, the highest exponent is 2. It's quadratic. So if I'm going to add another term to that, I'm going to have to increase the exponent up 1 to like make it all fit. Okay? All right, so first step for this, no matter what, it's the same as the first step for every single one. What do we always check for first? GCF, yep. So you're going to do GCF if there is one. From there, you're going to, I'll just kind of show you because a GCF is also part of the process, so it can get a little confusing. But let's just do one and then this up so it makes sense. Okay, so first one. First, check for a GCF of all of your 4 terms. So it has to be for all 4. Is there a GCF for all 4? No. Okay, so the way that you do this is you're going to group together, like think about it like you have 4 students and you're putting them in 2 groups of 2. So the first 2 terms are going to go in a group together. And then the second 2 terms are going to go in a group together. And you want to include that sign that's before that third term in with the second group. Okay? And then what you're going to do is you are going to factor a GCF out of each group. So what would the GCF be of just these first 2 terms? And what else? And what else? P squared, yes. So we're going to take out a P squared. And what's going to be left? 2P plus 5. Yep. Okay, and then what's the GCF of my second group? 3, positive or negative 3? Positive, so we're going to actually write this as like plus 3. So it's going to be a positive 3 we're going to take out. And that GCF, like if it's positive or negative, is going to be dictated by whatever that sign is that we included in there. Okay? So we're going to take out a positive 3, so then what's going to be left? 2P plus 5. What do we notice?
The things.
Yep, those are the same. So remember that this is all reverse FOIL, right? Like something was FOILed to make this. So we're kind of like unfolding this and like able to see kind of what was foiled right now. So I'm going to actually like foil something and put it in that form so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Because we have to finish this to put it together. We're not done with this yet. But the way we're putting it together, it makes a lot more sense when you see what I'm about to show you. Okay? What do you mean?
Because it's 3, you would subtract 3.
No, you're dividing.
Oh.
Yep, yeah. Okay, so let's just FOIL like number 1 on the warm-up. So x minus 2, x plus 6. So let's just like look at like what's being multiplied specifically when we FOIL. So what's the first thing that I'm going to distribute? The x, right? What's it going to go to first? The x, and then to what? To the 6. So the x is being distributed to the x plus 6, correct? Yes? So in other words, x is being distributed to x plus 6 like that. Yes? Okay. What's the next thing that we're going to distribute? The negative 2, and what's that going to multiply to? X and the plus 6. So the negative 2 is also being distributed to the x plus 6, like this. So those are the same thing. Do we agree? We're going to get the same answer if we do that? So if you compare this to this, that's the form that we're kind of stuck in when we're going in reverse. So we just got to kind of like fold this back up and put it back together. So the way that you do that is you're going to take the 2 GCFs that were out there and you're going to put them together in the first parenthesis. So P squared plus 3. And then whatever was like they're both being distributed to, the 2P plus 5 goes in the second parenthesis. Because if I were to go FOIL that, the P squared is going to get distributed like that, and then the 3 is going to get distributed like that. So you're just kind of like folding it up and like condensing it, if that makes sense. Kind of, sort of? Okay. So if you do this correctly, what you get left in the parentheses is always going to be the exact same. You can't, if they're not the exact same, you did something wrong. Okay? So go ahead and try the next one. Are we ready to go over it? Thank you. Okay. Is there a GCF of all 4? No. Okay, so then group the first 2 and second 2. So what's the GCF of the first group? Yep, n squared. And what's left? 3n minus 4. Okay, what about the second group? Positive 3. And what's left? 3n minus 4. Okay, and then put those 2 in the first group. So n squared plus 3, 3n minus 4.
Wouldn't it be minus 3? Because
No, just because we don't want to change the signs of that second group. So we're going to take out a positive 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The next one we're going to do a negative. You'll see like the difference. Yeah. Okay, any questions on those? Okay. So now this one, is there a GCF of all of the terms? No. Okay, so same thing, let's group. Okay, what's my GCF of the first group?
3 squared.
Yep, 3n squared. And what's going to be left?
N minus 4.
N minus 4, yep. Okay, so here's the thing. You are required, because it's part of the process, we have to have all the pieces, so you're required to take something out of both groups, even if it's like a positive 1, okay? In this case, do we see that these are like opposites, like they have the wrong signs? Yeah, and that it like leads with a negative right there? That tells you that you need to divide out a negative 1, because that's going to change the signs to make it match. So then that's going to turn to a positive n, that's going to turn to a minus 4, and then you have matching ones for your end, okay? So then you'll do 3n squared minus 1, and then n minus 4. Are we done with this one? Yeah? Okay, is there a GCF of all of them? No. Okay, so group. All right, what's the GCF of the first group?
5 squared.
Yeah, 5p squared, and then what's left?
P plus 3.
P plus 3. And what about the second group? Negative 2. Okay, so then you should have 5p squared minus 2p plus 3. Everyone good on that?
Why is it 3? I think you already went over this, but why is it plus 3?
Because when you divide out the negative 2, it's going to turn the negative 6 into a positive 3. Does that make sense? Okay. Charlie. All right, next one. Is there a GCF of all of them? Yes. What is it? 7. Okay, so we're going to write out the 7. So that's going to be 4x to the third minus 12x squared plus x minus 3. Okay, so that 7 is just going to kind of carry down to our answer. And we're going to continue doing the same thing with what we have left. Okay, so group the first 2, group the second 2. What is the GCF of the first group? Yeah, 4x squared. And then what do we get? X minus 3. And what about the second group? So see how it's already x minus 3? So what could we divide out that's not going to change anything? Yep, just a plus 1. Okay, and then put it together with the 7 at the end for the final answer. So you'll have 7, and then 4x squared plus 1, and then x minus 3. Okay, try that last one. Are you ready? Yeah? Okay, is there an overall GCF? Yes, 5. Okay, so 2y to the third plus 16y squared minus y minus 8. Okay, and then group. All right, GCF of the first group. Yep, 2y squared. And what's left? Yep, y plus 8. GCF of the second group. -1, yep, and then your y plus 8. So you should have 2y squared minus 1, y plus 8, and then bring down that GCF, 5. So all that's going to be your front line. Good? Any questions at all? Pretty easy? So that's the last factoring method, and that's, you'll know to do this if you have 4 terms, basically. Okay? All right, go ahead and do the lesson check. I can hear you. I'm looking at you. Okay, guys ready for answers for these? Okay. All right. So number 1, you should have gotten m squared plus 2, m minus 1. Number 2 is 5. 7x squared minus 6. 3x minus 2. Good? Yes. Alright guys, you have a math Excel to do.